it's Destiny, and today we're going to be discussing the new Novaflare buffs that will be coming soon, as they were just revealed a couple of hours ago as to which new characters will be getting some awesome buffs. And before we get into today's video, I would love to know who you are personally excited for in version 4.2, being Evanescia, the new Silver Wolf, if you're excited for the Trailblazer, and so on. Lastly, if you would like to see some more Star Rail content from me, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like to support today's video, and now let's get straight into it. In version 4.2, there will be 4 new characters that will receive a Novaflare buff. These characters being Firefly, Huohuo, Welt, and Seele. This is a pretty interesting selection, and what stood out to me the most is that Welt is getting a buff, who is a standard character. This is pretty huge for future Novaflare buffs, as this means other standard characters can get buffed in the future, such as Yanqing, Bronya, Himiko, Bailu, and so on. So that is actually really exciting in my opinion, that this basically shows us that they're also willing to rework the kits of the standard characters and make them more meta relevant, if you will. In the case of Seele, this is really good as well, as they made a change a couple of patches ago where you can add Seele to your lost 50-50 pool. So basically, if you were to lose your 50-50, there is a chance that you can actually end up getting Seele. So this is actually pretty good for Seele as well, since now this shows that if you were to lose your 50-50 to her, you would be able to get a buffed version of her in comparison to her 1.0 kit. As for Huohuo, Huohuo has been doing pretty well recently, especially with Elation characters. She is a very nice sustain on those teams, and in the case of Huohuo, it is likely that her getting buffs can definitely make her one of the top tier sustains once again. Currently, I would say the top 2 sustains would be Dan Heng and Hyacinth. I'm really curious to see where Huohuo will be after her buffs, but in general, Huohuo is actually doing pretty nicely right now, I would say, especially with Elation characters. Her getting buffs though is amazing, as this can help with even more teams, of course, as Huohuo is able to provide numerous benefits that can be appreciated by numerous teams. And then we have Firefly, which in the case of Firefly, this one kind of surprised me a bit. If I were to take a guess what they're trying to do with her, maybe she could work a bit better than what she does right now outside of the Dahlia, and being paired with the Dahlia, she would become even stronger. If I had to take a guess of the direction they may go with Novaflare, maybe changing up her traces, maybe having some of her early Eidolons in her base kit, or even being more skill point friendly. Whatever it may be, there's numerous ways that they can change up Firefly to make her a bit stronger, so I am interested to see what they end up doing with her. In the case of Huohuo, what they could end up doing is improving her sustainability. If there is something I would say that Huohuo can kind of struggle with, it can sometimes be the sustainability of the team, especially if an enemy is hitting you multiple times in a row, or of course if the enemy just hits hard in general. So improving her sustainability can be very nice. There could also be changes that can make it easier for her to use her ultimate more frequently, resulting in the rest of the team getting more energy more often from her. And this could be really good to use your ultimates more frequently with your other characters and overall improving your damage output with the team. So that could be another change that they could potentially do, is making it even easier to get her ultimate and using it more frequently. The skill points economy of the team, change it up to where she doesn't need to consume as many skill points, just so there's more skill points for the rest of the team. So maybe that could be a direction that they go. We aren't 100% sure how they're going to change the characters, but regardless, I do think that the changes will be very nice overall and definitely help with the character being more meta relevant, I would say as well. Now, when it comes to Welt, as mentioned, this is a really good thing, as this shows that other standard characters can get buffed in the future. For potential Welt changes, now it's really hard to say what they will do with him, if they decide to completely rework his kit, or if they do decide to keep the delay and imprisonment as a part of his kit and then make further improvements to the rest of it. I think keeping the delay and imprisonment factor of his kit would be pretty cool, and just making it even stronger, maybe making it so that it's guaranteed to inflict the debuff onto the boss. A fun thing I used to do with Welt in the past is using him as a pseudo sustain, where Since he's able to delay enemies, this can actually help out with your characters not getting attacked as often, can result in Welt being able to inflict his debuffs onto them, as well as you being able to have the rest of your team be your supportive characters and your other DPS. So there could be a potential that if they were to make his delay essentially guaranteed to inflict on any enemy, then he could still be used as a pseudo sustain, if you will. They could also go the route of improving his supportive capabilities. So this can still consist of keeping the delay, but maybe improving his debuffs that he can inflict onto enemies as well. And if I had to take a guess, Welt will likely go through a nice amount of changes, a lot of buffs, especially considering that he is a standard character, and also the fact that he isn't really used on many teams at the moment. Majority of teams would prefer a different Nihility character on them, which is why I wouldn't be too surprised if they do decide to rework a lot of his kit. But overall, I'm very excited for Welt. I think out of all the Novaflares, Welt is by far one of the ones I'm the most excited for, especially considering once again he's a standard character, and right after that it would be Seele, which in the case of Seele, at the moment, she can struggle to utilize her resurgence mechanic if an elite enemy just has too much HP, which as we've seen over time, elite enemies can be pretty beefy now, and because of that, it can be difficult for Seele to actually utilize her resurgence mechanic. So because of that, I do think changing the requirement to take advantage of resurgence would be a very useful change, making it easier for her to take advantage of resurgence. Maybe her being able to take advantage of resurgence a bit more often as well, or being able to utilize it numerous times in a row, whatever it may be. And changing her traces would also be nice. More self buffs that she can give herself, maybe potential ways to make her synergize with some of the characters that have come out so that she's able to utilize their kits a bit more. Whatever it may be, I do think that there's multiple ways that they can go with Seele as well. They could do a massive kit rework, or they could end up doing something where they do keep resurgence as a mechanic for her and then they adjust the rest of her kit, whatever it may be. Because in the case of Seele, her playstyle is mainly just being a hyper carry damage dealer. So because of that, there's a lot of ways that they can adjust her kit if they wanted to make her fit into an archetype, or if they just want to improve her as a main damage dealer overall. We'll have to wait and see regarding all of these character buffs, but once again, I am very, very excited. And another option they can actually do with all of these characters is also, of course, reworking their Eidolons, but maybe including some of the nice parts of their Eidolons into the base kit instead of having it as a current Eidolon in the future, as this can also be useful for just further improving them. I do think the early 1.x characters would definitely want new Eidolons, especially a character like Seele. Character like Welt can nicely utilize new Eidolon. But I would love to know your hopes for all of the Novaflare characters that we'll be getting in 4.2. Is there anything in particular you would like them to change about their kits that would improve them further? And lastly, if you would like to see some more content from me, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like to support today's video, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.